Mozambique War of Independence, 1964 to 1974. The Mozambique War of Independence was an armed struggle between Frelimo, a Mozambican nationalist movement, and Portugal, which had ruled Mozambique as a colony for centuries. The war lasted roughly 10 years, from September 1964 until the ceasefire in September 1974. Mozambique formally became independent on June 25, 1975. 1. Portuguese rule before the war. Portugal established colonial control over Mozambique gradually from the late 19th century. Mozambique was incorporated into the Portuguese colonial system, and Portuguese authorities controlled much of the country's administration, economy, and political life. The colonial system created major inequalities between Europeans and the African majority. Africans faced restrictions on political participation and education, while forced labor and other coercive labor practices were used in parts of the colonial economy. By the middle of the 20th century, African nationalism was growing throughout the continent. Countries such as Ghana, Tanzania, and Algeria had demonstrated that colonial rule could be challenged. Mozambican nationalists increasingly demanded independence. 2. The creation of Frelimo. Several Mozambican nationalist organizations existed before the major independence movement was formed. In 1962, different nationalist groups united to create Frelimo, Frente de Libertação de Moçambique, Mozambique Liberation Front. Its first major leader was Eduardo Mondlane, a Mozambican nationalist who had studied abroad and worked internationally. Frelimo's objective was straightforward: end Portuguese colonial rule and establish an independent Mozambique. Frelimo established its headquarters in Dar es Salaam, Tanzania, which became an important base for organizing the independence struggle. Tanzania, newly independent itself, provided important political and logistical support. 3. Why did the war begin? Several factors contributed to the conflict. Colonial political control. Mozambicans had very limited opportunities to participate in determining the country's political future. Economic exploitation. The colonial economy primarily served Portuguese interests. Agricultural production, labor systems, and major economic projects were structured around colonial priorities. Forced labor. Coercive labor practices were an important source of resentment, particularly in rural communities. African decolonization. During the 1950s and 1960s, many African countries became independent. This encouraged Mozambican nationalists to believe that independence was achievable. Portugal refused to decolonize.